So now today we focus on the serious issue, of course, looking at the killings in KwaZulu-Natal. And, you know, we are talking about political killings and violence. And that's why we're asking you this question on the poll. Are political killings reaching crisis proportions in South Africa? So far, 155 votes in. 90% of you are saying, yes, it is reaching a crisis point. Only 10% saying no. Let's start that conversation with you.
Yeah, you guys are tweeting us on this question. Of course, it's something that's disconcerting to say the least. Katlejo tweets us, he says, yes, and they're perpetrated by greed, intolerance, jealousy, and corruption. Everything involving money and politics ends up with this. This one from Jazz Kwepe says to us, big yes, killers are very close with politicians. Sefana says to us, yes, a special year at Glebland's Hostel. Yep, and that's also our question today. Our question deals directly with that. Should we kill these hostels that are known as hotbeds for hitmen and that are linked to political killings and the turmoil that goes with it? That's the question today. Tweet us on that and on our poll, of course. Let's take a couple of tweets while we're busy with it. Let's have a look what you guys are saying. This one says, Novelo, yes, they must be demolished, these hostels that are linked to so much violence and even political killings. Sitsaba, we miss Sitsaba. Ngutalo says to us, absolutely yes, and what comfort the killers is that they are not arrested and the investigation disappears without answers. Keep tweeting us, guys. Keep telling us what you think. But let's just set the scene quickly now. Families of the victims of political killings, they are now calling on the ANC's leadership to act and to put an end to the ongoing killing of councillors in a fight they say is for position. Now, a number of political killings have been reported in KwaZulu-Natal since around 2014, as well as a spike during the 2016 local government elections. Recently, the Eastern Cape is following suit. The Speaker, Raymond Mhlaba, was shot and killed there.
There is a major concern over political bloodshed as a result of political intolerance within the political arena. A number of councillors have been killed in KZN and no arrests have been made. Recently in the Eastern Cape, the Speaker of the Raymond Mhlaba municipality, Tozama Njobe, was gunned down a few blocks away from her house. 3 suspects have since been arrested. This is little consolation for the bereaved family.
And it's that time that is very sensitive right now that children are struggling to sleep. We are also struggling to sleep. I think it's just that time that we have been left alone to actually deal with the real issues around this particular situation. So we are actually struggling at this point in time to really cope.
The ANC in the Eastern Cape has condemned these acts, saying this is the second councillor to die like this.
We had a similar situation in Nelson Mandela. We lost a councillor there, and then fortunately police made a breakthrough. People were prosecuted successfully, and again we have seen that even on the recent one, someone has been actually picked up by the police, and that person has actually appeared before the court yesterday. We are quite pleased to see that, because these are things that we must actually nip them in the bud. We must actually uproot them.
Political analysts say now is the time for the ANC to bring in leaders to restore the movement to its former glory.
It requires a person who is driven by service to the people, not by personal, to amass wealth or to hold a position. So for me, you don't deserve a position if you get to that position by eliminating, political eliminations and assassinations. They are an antithesis of leadership.
The ANC in the Eastern Cape has called on its members to be calm and disciplined as it heads to the Provincial Elective Congress. Provincial Secretary Oscar Mabuyane says the province needs to come out of the Congress united, regardless of who emerges winner. Busisiwe Jemsana, SABC News, King Williamstown.
Just a correction there, of course, it was the Speaker of the Raymond Mhlaba municipality that was gunned down in the Eastern Cape. Thank you for that. Thank you for that note. Now, to carry on The number is that more than 90 councillors have been killed here in South Africa in the last 3 years, some in front of their families. Now that's according to the South African Local Government Association. The killings have discouraged professionals and skilled people from standing to become councillors as they fear for their lives. Now in recent incidents, Gauteng councillor Mbuyiselo Dokolwane was shot dead and killed in Freedom Park here in Johannesburg after returning from a branch meeting. In the Eastern Cape, armed men burst into the Democratic Alliance's constituency office in Nelson Mandela Bay and fired a gunshot at DA activists and councillors before stealing cell phones and bank cards there. Last month, 3 ANC councillors in Umzimkhulu in KwaZulu-Natal were shot at several times, one of whom was former ANC League Secretary General Sindiso Magaka. Now, in studio in Bloemfontein to talk about SALGA's stand against the killing of elected local government representatives, we are joined by the South African Local Government Association's Deputy Chairperson, Sebenzile Ngangelizwe. Very good morning to you, sir, and thank you for being with us today.
Greetings to all viewers in South Africa. As you have indicated, yes, I'm Sebenzile Ngangelizwe, the Deputy President of SALGA in South Africa.
Good morning to you, sir. The killings have been going on for years here in South Africa. Why are you only stepping into the breach now?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. First and foremost, as SALGA, we are representing the aspiration of local government and indirect and direct interest of municipalities in South Africa. Yes, of course, on the 19th of July, we met as NEC of SALGA. The political overview of Councillor Pakstow, the president of SALGA, revealed challenges that are facing local government in South Africa. Amongst other challenges that were revealed by our president, the killings of councillors dominated the discussions of the NEC. The National Executive Committee of SALGA resolved that we must protect councillors, and then we do that in partnership with COCTA and South African police services in the country.
Sir.
And then as SALGA, once again, you ask a very important question, why now? It's not a matter of we are coming now. We have started the process last year in terms of engaging with this matter. But we are therefore, as SALGA, inviting political parties to join us to promote democracy by respecting principles of democracy and build a democratic and prosperous society in South Africa. We are also inviting our own councillors, our fellow councillors, to observe some principles in terms of stopping, either sort of removing these killings in our space.
My Lord,
remember that...
my Lord, I know you've come prepared and you've got a prepared statement, and I respect the work that you do, but we have to talk about this thing. Yes. So I want to ask you, in your engagements and in the work that you've done so far, you say you've been working on it now for a year. What do you find? What is the motive behind the political killings? Is it as simple as greed?
Remember, South Africa, we are almost not more than 30 years practicing democracy. So as SALGA, we felt that it's of importance that we have to sort of teach our political parties in terms of how to respect democracy. Now, of late, people, they want to join a government, but they don't have a clear methodology in terms of how to join government. But some of the people who are interested to join our space, that is why we have decided to educate communities in terms of how to promote democracy. Therefore, we can have leaders moving forward.
There's a danger.
So as SALGA, we have designed that program. We are going to do it, as I've indicated to you earlier on, that we intended to partner with COCTA and the South African Police Service and Services. So for us to make sure that we promote democracy in our space.
It's one thing to promote democracy, sir. It's another thing to stop the killings. And the danger is that our political space become overrun by gangsters and murderers. We've had more than 90 killings. Surely we should be doing more than just talking at the moment.
As SALGA, in our discussions, we are concerned, really, for the killings that are taking place in our country. You have already mentioned that in the KZN, we have lost many councillors there. Recently, the Eastern Cape, the Western Cape, and the Northern Cape as well. But what we want to do as SALGA, we want to make sure that at least we play our role in terms of partnering with political parties to stop these killings. We are really concerned about these killings. And above all, we are going to lose professional people to join local government. Because local government, we are actually sort of providing services at that level. That is where service delivery is taking place. So if we cannot get professional people to join us at that level, it means we cannot deliver services into our own people.
How are you going to get professional people to come into politics now? Because there's very little chance of the kind of professionals we need to deliver services and to come up with the right strategies within the leadership space. People are simply too afraid to move into this. It's a little bit too late, I would think. We need a little bit more drastic action. Are you going to engage police services, the ministries, these kinds of people?
It's a pity that this week there is a cabinet, we're supposed to meet with the two departments, which is COCTA, South African Police Services, in terms of consolidating a strategy to protect our councillors in the country. But most probably next week we have actually scheduled a meeting in terms of designing a roadmap to protect councillors in the country. That's our plan as SALGA.
What about the hostels where you can hire hitmen for very little money, places like Gleblands and so forth? Are part of the plans you're putting forward to target these hostels as well?
I should think South Africa, as a country, we've got a task, all of us, to learn how to promote democracy and make people to understand how it works. But you talk about the hostels. As a country, you would remember that we are from the apartheid government. There was a segregation in our own country, and then as the current government, which is actually in place of the African National Congress, they have started to develop a plan in terms of integrating our communities. Hostels is part of their program to integrate our communities. If you can check in the whole country, all hostels are actually, we have started to integrate people where we create family units where we used to have hostels.
Sir, thank you for joining us today. We've run out of time. We can talk about it. It's something surely that's very concerning, not just to yourself, but I think to all South Africans that, well, our political space is being threatened right now. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much, sir.
That is the Deputy Chairperson of the South African Local Government Association, Mr. Sebenzile Ngangelizwe. They're having discussions at very high level right now to deal with this problem. He says strengthening democracy is the answer. What do you think? Tweet us. Tweet us. Is it strengthening democracy or is it a little bit too late? We're asking you, of course, the poll question and the Twitter question. Go there and tell us what you think. Now let's take a look at what else you can look at on social media. Of course, on Twitter, we start with the hashtag motion of no confidence.